He said tonight's not going to work. Why not? Tonight, because I have a certain orchestra, what's it called, symphony, overseas that I was in charge of it, but I'm not there right now, so I can't actually run it. But they're playing it on the radio tonight, so I want to listen to it. So I have to focus on it. So I won't be able to talk to you. I'm going to be busy with that. So the biographer said, "Can I come and watch you listen to your symphony?" You come. I have to be very quiet the whole time. I said, "Sure, okay, fine. It's an opportunity." So the biographer comes to his house and he says, listen to the radio, and he's focused. And if the biographer of a composer, he probably himself was a big maven in music, so he listened also, and he was also enjoying it. And he watched Toscanini like focused the whole time, and it was done. So it was already a long time. Wasn't Jack to have an old interview? I asked him, no, so how was it? So he said, it wasn't good. So why not? Look, it sounded so good. He said, one of the musicians didn't show up. What? Kitzer, so he ended up calling up the actual guy that was running the orchestra that night, and he asked him. So I forget it was a band of like a few hundred, maybe 120, whatever it is, of musicians with harps and violins and not harps, whatever they have over there, flutes and trumpets and all zachim. And one of them, maybe there was maybe 20 violins. So one of the people, the violin, didn't show up that night. He was sick; he wasn't able to come. So the biographer asked Toscanini, well, how were you able to tell that? There was one violin in so many instruments you're able to hear. Toscanini explained to him, when I write the music, when I prepare this orchestra, so every single person is a cheshbon. It's not stop, I have to have 200 people, so okay, fine, how can I have more people? Every single person is accounted for. Everyone has a cheshbon. And therefore, I need every single, when I'm listening to it, I know every single note, I know it has to play. And if I heard that one note was off, I realized that he wasn't there. So even though the regular person can't hear it, Afal B'chein is there. So the Rosh Kollel tells this young man, he tells him that the Eibishter Hashem has a very big musician, a big band, or whatever it's called, choir, orchestra. Klal Yisrael, each one of us has our own notes we have to play. And just because you think your note is so insignificant, but for the composer, for the mumche, he knows that without that, the whole orchestra is not worth it. The whole symphony doesn't work out if you don't have each person individually. That was his message. It's the message to that person that even though you're not a baki b'shas, you're not learn so well. You could read your article, you have to break your teeth in article. That's how you learn. But for the Eibusher, that's the way the music is complete. So how do we know what each job is? Well, obviously we have no idea. We just know what we have to do. But that was Tama. So we got the Malachim and the Srafim and the Chayis and the Ifanim. So what exactly each one of them job? What do they have to do? The Eibusher has this cheshbonus. He's the one that runs the choir. He'll tell them. That's in general. Specifically, it talks about Srafim, Chayis, and Ifanim. That Srafim is the Madriga Vela Babriya, Chayis is Elam Eitzira, and Ifanim is Elam Asiya. And in general, the Malachim, the Malachim, they evolve from Srafim to lower to Chayis and Ifanim, different levels of Avos Hashem and Yiras Hashem. And those levels of Avos Hashem and Yiras Hashem is where our Nefesh Abamis comes from, our Yitzhahara comes from these places. And therefore, when we know where we're coming from, we're able to take from that. But each one of them is serving Hashem in a different eifin. Again, Srafim is B'riya, Chayis is Yitzir, and Ifanim is Asiyah. Wasn't good enough, I know.
No, it's good.
Good enough, all right. Is there a problem in wearing Vans? What's Vans?
Kind of shoe that has mug and donuts on the bottom.
Has mug and donuts on the. I don't know the problem. I don't understand. So the shoes with mug and donuts, yeah, I guess Adrab is anti-Tzidin. You can step on it all the time. I never heard of such. I don't know. I never know what the shoes are. Maybe you give me a picture of the shoes.
It's a brand of shoes they make. They supposedly put it.
Oh no, that's where you put it on. So take kind of those books and step on them with those shoes and you listen to Kuli. It says 40 days before you are born, Hashem decides who you're going to marry. What about all those people who don't get married? So the pashtus, even though Hashem decides, but the Vasco comes out and says what your zivug is supposed to be, at the end of the day, a person has b'chira chavshis, a person can choose to go and get married, a person can choose not to get married. And the Mele, so the Baskel comes out and says, your zivug is supposed to be this and this person. It's also brought down in halacha about getting engaged with cholamoid, and it says that sometimes that you're allowed to get engaged. If you're not going to get engaged, maybe someone else will get engaged to this woman. So they also hear the Mefarshim ask, if it's your zivug, then how can someone else marry her? So it's explained that at the end of the day, first of all, you have b'chira chavshis not to marry her, and maybe it'll be a zivug sheni, and they'll get married, get divorced, whatever the explanations will be. So it's obvious that a person has b'chira chavshis, a person can choose not to get married, and even though Hashem officially arranged the zivug for him, when the gospel came out, nevertheless he can choose not to do that. If I woke up late and the minyan is past Yishtabach, and I did not do Karbanis yet, what should I do? You should say Karbanis and daven in the right order. That's what you should do. And catch up to the minyan or don't catch up to the minyan. Bracha wrote a very cute joke, but unfortunately I can't say the end of the joke because it's not appropriate, but it's a good one. I'll just read the first part of it. His question is, if you and one person are stranded on an island with nothing to eat, then what bracha do you make on your friend? Should the bracha achrona be buried in the fashes, no matter what? The bracha, because it's buried in the fashes, right? And what if it's a vegetable? Do you make a buried priyadama? And then there's whatever. Akopanim, so first of all, you have to make a baruch dynamics if you kill him. If he's alive, you cannot kill him to eat him. No, that doesn't work. If he ends up dying before you, are you allowed to? Was you?
No.
Was him?
Someone I know.
You know what the joke was at that? You know what the joke was?
Maybe.
Huh?
Yeah, I know.
It's a good one. I like it. But Cholifin, so according to halacha, human flesh is treif, even if it's a You cannot eat human meat. It's not kosher. It's an isser to eat human meat. It's an isser that rice in the pashtus. The Ebesh is allowed to eat human meat. So if a person is if a bechlal in Shulchan Aruch Simon Kuf Tzaddik Vav, it says dvar isur, even if it's only yasser with the rabbanon, ein mevarchin olav lebatchila lebasayf. Something which is forbidden, you make no bracha on it. However, he says in Seif Beis Simon Kuf Tzaddik Vav, if you're in a place of danger and the only way to survive is eating not kosher food, then you do eat the kosher food and then you make a bracha on it. So I was reading, not from a reliable source, but I was reading somewhere that in the Holocaust people got a psak to indeed make a shahakal on human flesh. I didn't see it from a reliable source and I don't believe in it, but that's what it says. There's also
there's a different bracha on every kosher thing. It's like a bread, not kosher.
Yeah, not kosher bread, you make amaitzi, not kosher flesh, you make shahaka. That's what I understood to do. There's a pasuk in Eicha that says, "Yidei noshim lachmoniyos bishtu yaldeim." At the hands of women that were, so to speak, rachmoniyos, that they were very, they were rachmoniyos. I say rachmoniyos. They were compassionate and they cooked their own children and they eat their own children. Rachmanu litzlah. So there's a pirush of the Maril. The Maril says, "Yidei noshim lachmoniyos bishtu yaldeim." That women that were compassionate cut off their own arms and they cooked their own arms to serve their children flesh and have what to eat.
How do they kill?
With the other hand. You laugh at it, but you know.
Rabbi, do you make
You can imagine it's far from laughable.
Do you make a shachianu on a baby?
So it seems like, based on the plain Shulchan Aruch, it seems like in a place of sakali you make a bracha. However, there's another halacha, and that is if a food grosses you out, then you don't make a bracha on it either. So I would assume that you'd be grossed out to eat human flesh, and Mamela, you wouldn't eat it. But the Eibusha should help. The Noam should stuck on an island. But any kind of problems, if you are on an island, there's probably coconuts or something else over there. Satisfy your hunger.